All right, so welcome to today's session. Let's just start. Sorry, I'm starting late, but I just wanted to highlight some things before we start discussing today's work. Okay. All right, today we want to talk about, because it remains ENT 811 and is entitled e-business and event management. And today I wanted to just talk about some of the overviews of event management as entrepreneurs or entrepreneurship students. You need to have um, a grasp of the other part of this course, which is event management. All right. So, so it's important we understand the other part of this course, which is event management. The course is e-business and event management. And so far, we've talked about e-business to a very large extent. And today, we want to talk about let's talk about event management. All right, we'll try to talk about the basic characteristics of an event, evolution of event, and just some structural things about it, about the industry of event management. Let's see the much we can do today. All right, by definition of event and event management, we start by defining event. There are many different different definitions of event that are available, and these available definitions are been given by different authors, academic authors, industry authors, professionals that are into event management. They've defined events in different ways. However, for this course, we'll define an event as any temporal and purposive gathering of people. All right. So event management can be defined as the organization and coordination of activities required to achieve the objectives of an event or of events. All right. So when you want to describe an event, just say it is a temporal and purposive gathering of people. So when people purposively gather for something, you say there's an event happening here. And then when we say event management, by definition, we say it is an organization and coordination of activities required to achieve the objectives of an event. Now, what are the unique features of events? What are the unique characteristics, or we just call it characteristics of event? Events generally possess the following characteristics. One, they are temporal in nature, meaning that they will start and they will finish, they are not permanent. Two, they are gatherings of people. Three, they are often display of rituals. That is, ritual is something you do again and again and again and again, but they are temporal. That is, you do it periodically again and again. So that's the characteristics. Then number four, they are in some sense unique occurrence. Of course, every event is unique because you can't say that in every event, the same people attend it, the same time it happens, the same um, features about the event is the same, even though it seems to be the same. For example, Christmas happens every year, and several festivals happen every year, but they are unique in themselves because you can't have one year twice in this existence. So every single one is unique because something different has happened in it. All right, events in human history and human culture. Let's just run around it a bit. It is worth remembering that event management is likely the modern day practice of age long or age old expressions of human social interactions and activities. So, ancient texts, records, history, historical writers, such as Christian writers and even the Jewish Old Testament, as well as Islam, records practices of festivals, feasts, practices, pilgrimages, and so on, requiring yearly celebration, remembrances, and even distinct practices. These distinctions are evident and highly visible, all right, in the composition of of various cultural outlooks. As you may move from one continent to another, you may see Christmas in Africa. It has distinct features that distinguishes it from Christmas in Arab, in the West and all that. So they all have distinct features. So in Nigeria, some events like the Hajj, the Olympic Games, marathons, full marathons, half marathons that occur periodically, even the Christmas festivals, the Oshun, Oshobo festivals, the different festivals in different parts of the country are unique in themselves. Now, the event industry is a business. And most times, people think it's just for fun to observe it. No, 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 no. People participate in it and professionally are making ends meet from it. So let's discuss event as a business. Now, there are reasons for the modernization of event from its traditional origins, which usually used to be like social interactions and all that. But now it is a business. For some of us that are old enough, we will realize that in those days, when people want to get married in our climb, the mother of the bride will gather her fellow women around the environment and they will organize and cook and do all the domestic things in the house in preparation of the marriage of a new bride. However, these days, women don't go through all those hassles again. If they can, they just simply hire an event manager who takes all the details of the event, asks vital questions, and takes charge of the entire thing. So to that event manager, that event to him is a business. Yet for the others that are part of the event, they are socially interacting, having fun, celebrating, and all that. But there's someone that it is his business to get that event up and running. So let's discuss it. That's what we want to talk about. Now, the International Festivals and Event Associations estimates that there are over 4.5 million recurring festivals worldwide per year. For for the event sector in the United Kingdom, records have it that the sector is worth over 36 billion per annum to the national economy of the UK. Now, business visitors spend on average 131 uh, pounds per day on £72 more than the amount spent by leisure visitors. So it's important you know the difference between business visitors and leisure visitors. Those that are going to the UK to go and carry out their business are described as business visitors, while those that go in for holidays and all that for leisure are referred to as leisure visitors. So you see, the industry is growing so much that rather than spend less, they are spending more per day just to carry out their business or carry out and to meet up and attend an event in the UK. Now, there's another juxtaposing of another, let's juxtapose another information on this. The visitors to the UK, that UK exhibitions from overseas, those that come to the UK from overseas, they spend like £190 more per day than leisure visitors to the Britain. That is for those that are coming from overseas. Then for Nigeria, of course, you know the Enugu State just finished the international marathon, and it is not only the participant that came. They had their coaches, they had their support staff that should join them. And locally, people came from different states to Enugu State. And that is how the business flows. Nigeria will host a whole lot of events, national sports festivals, and all that and all that. To the government, they are hosting an event, but there are people that it is their job that this is a business. All right. So that is it. Event industry is a business. Now, what are the functions of event managers in this industry? One, ability to plan. An event manager must have an ability to plan. Getting who to do what, getting what is needed at the right place, and and taking things that need to be taken to where, and getting to anticipate what is supposed to be and get ready for it is an ability to plan. Secondly, ability to organize. Thirdly, ability to deliver an event deliverables. Deliverables are what you signed up that you will deliver in the course of an event. If it's a wedding, you say you okay, I will plan and deliver a successful wedding or provide everything, pay me so and so. So these are the deliverables that your customer or whoever hired you is expecting you to deliver. So a good event manager should be able to deliver on an event deliverables. Now, of course, because it's e-business and event management, event is a project. Let's look at it, look at that concept. Event as a project. Projects are distinct from the day-to-day processes of any organization. Events are projects because they are of limited duration. They require a degree of coordination of tasks towards goals, usually have a fixed budget, and are unique occurrences. So events are projects. While each event requires a combination of management functions, they are different from most business processes in that they do not generally exhibit the ordinary day-to-day processes of most organizations. For example, several wedding events might, to some extent, have similar features, different influences, such as brides and grooms specific requirements, attendance size, some are large, some are smaller, desired service styles, some are in this particular church, some are in this particular church, budget and program, some budget so much money, some don't budget as much. But they make each of those events are distinct in their own regard. Although a single event manager may lead all these separate events as the manager, they will be classified as distinct projects and they will have subgroups of persons to handle each of those areas while the manager supervises or superintends the entire distinct aspects of each of these events. Of course, you know, when you're a manager or event manager for a wedding, someone is going to be in charge of music, someone's going to be in charge of the drink, someone's going to be in charge of the food. And as the event manager, you can't be in charge of everything, but you have an oversight of everything that is going on. All right, let's talk about the characteristics of event as a project. Now, take a look at what you have on your screen. You will see that at the heart of this diagram you have here is the events. Now, to a large extent, leadership is part of that event. One of the unique characteristics of of an event is that it will require a leadership to coordinate it. Then tasks. Every event has tasks. Every event requires a budget. You can see all of them there. Every event requires a life cycle. That is a start time and an end time. Every event has cross functionality. That is one task or the other task have a way of affecting each other. The person playing music will require to eat from those people that are serving food. Those people that are serving food need to know the number of people that are playing music so that they can serve them those number. So they are cross functions. Their functions are crossing. Then teams is a unique characteristic of an event as a project. There must be small teams here and there. Two of you be in charge of this, four of you be in charge of this, you and you be in charge of this, and so on and so forth. So it's important to understand the characteristics of events as projects. Now, when we say leadership, events are often ultimate responsibility of one lead event manager who coordinates specialist functions. The centralized and hierarchical nature of the leadership role can depend upon the scale of the event. If it's an Olympic you're organizing or a national sports festival, of course, you know that is a very large event. So a mega event such as that Olympic or the National Sports Festival will require a national planning committee, ultimately accountable to its international partners or the state government or the national and all that. While corporate events are often under the direct leadership of a single event manager. Now, concerning budget, events almost always have specific budgets allocated to them. The accurate calculation of such budgets often includes the difficult prediction of fixed and projected variable costs in relation to the forecasted attendee numbers. Let's use simple examples like weddings. Most times when your event manager comes around, the first thing we ask you is how many people are you expecting so that he can make a plan and give you a budget. So such calculations cannot be considered reliable if the people are not, that is some variable cost of variable predictions cannot be made. So it's important for you to note this. Every event has a budget and every event has a life cycle. Each event has a defined beginning and end. Within each life cycle, there are a variety of life cycles proposed in the field of project management to aid managers to distinguish key phases throughout a project's life. However, the models of business cycles used by such industries as engineering, software development tend to accommodate the tendency in such industries for the phases of each cycle to be definitely completed, leading to the definite beginning of the next phase. For event project managers, they do not often have the laws, this kind of laws like those in the engineering department or software development department, as they will be planning events, social events, and all that. The the uniqueness of such event gives them a different life cycle all together. Okay. Now, tasks and cross functionality. Tasks events often require the performance of tasks that will not be repeated, even in recurring annual effects. The complexity of setting larger events means that even seemingly simple tasks within such events or functions, such as maybe catering, volunteer recruitment, or filming, must be approached in a distinct manner in order to reinforce the uniqueness uh, of an event from year to year. All right. So if you like these days now, we see some events where the event manager add color to the event by putting some maybe clowns, dancing, colorful things here and there. These are just injections to make the event unique in its own special way. Cross functionality, event organizations are likely to be required to work cross functionally without formal authority. This principle mainly depends on the type of event project being managed and the corresponding organizational structure required for ideal, effective, and efficient execution. Now, every event requires a team. Like I said, events require a working team to be brought together only for the duration of a project. Okay. Most event organizations tend to vary their approach towards formality of event leadership and the corresponding organizational structure. It is not uncommon for the makeup of teams and for the makeup of teams employed on particular events to vary according to a variety of factors. Maybe according to the number of people expecting, you deploy 12 people. If the organization on the event is larger, you deploy more people. Event project life cycle. If you take a look at the diagram you have or the graph you have in front of you, you will see that there's always a start and there's always a finish. There's always an initiation plan, initiation period, and planning period, and they have a timeline of implementation, then the event itself proper, and then closure in itself. Now, project management perspective in event management. Now, in consideration of application of project management to event, a project leader must consider their overall perspective. According to some authors, there are 6 major perspectives to project management. There are one. The first is the task perspective to event management. All event project team focus on the scope of the event, concept, and operation. So everybody is focused on the task. So everybody put your mind to the task. The second perspective is leadership perspective. In this case, projects depend upon leadership style. So the leadership style will determine how people will go about the project. It says, okay, each subgroup, take care of your subgroup and give me feedback. So everybody's not looking at the leader to come there to handle it. Say, you take care of it. That's sort of a laissez-faire kind of style and give me feedback. Now, the third perspective is stakeholder perspective. In this instance, identification of key stakeholder groups are important, and then you work with them because it's important that they are taken care of or recognized. Then the fourth perspective is the transaction cost perspective. Transaction cost perspective. In this instance, events are seen as a commercial transaction. So we start from how much are you planning to put into this event? How much are you putting in? That will determine what you get from it. So that is the perspective of uh, transaction cost perspective. And the fifth is the system perspective. Because in this instance, overall holistic system is taken into consideration rather than discussing the event in its in individual components or functional components, but we look at the entire event as a system. So meaning that if every part works well, the entire system will work. That is the system approach from our perspective. Then number 6 is the business by project perspective. Business by project perspective. In this instance, individual investments that yield returns or benefits are introduced or are put into, are conceptualized into the event, such that the business of the project or the event is seen as a business, all right, to yield something. So what are we going to get from it will be your primary thinking. Now, what are the core competencies of an event project manager? An event project manager requires the application of 5 project stages. That is the initiation stage, the planning stage, the implementation stage, delivery, the core delivery stage of your work, and then the closure. That is, the work is finished, you need to wrap up things here and there. These are the stages the project manager needs to conceptualize to bring an event from initiation to closure. And he also has a variety of diverse interrelated core competencies that he will require to achieve this. So what are the core competencies of an event manager? Number 1, event managers need to be able to select suitable projects. And in the event of multiple products, they must be able to prioritize between them in relation to the requirements of their organization. That is prioritization. Which one will we do first? That ability to prioritize is one of the core competencies of a project manager. Number 2, event project managers will need to be an experienced project planner in order to plan properly, take into consideration things that were not anticipated, so that such that the event will go successfully. Number 3, event project manager needs to be competent to manage the event scope. That is, as it's increasing, what do you do? How do you manage it? Event schedules, event costs, procurement, and resources as it relates to the event. This ability is a core competence of an event manager. Number 4, an event manager must have communication skills. Of course, he's going to be working with a lot of teams, trying to satisfy some deliverables. He must have um, communication skills. Communication skills is required to negotiate with all parties connected to the event, both inside the event and outside the project of decision. The event project manager will eventually need to evaluate the overall accomplishments of the event's objective and the legacies, as well as the document it is it's as well as documents for its recordings. Okay, event management or event project definitions and organizational framework. What kind of organizational framework can we use? Okay, first of all, let's talk about event project definitions. The following are the various approaches and organizational structures an event manager might consider. They might consider the functional and the project-led organization. Functional organization group members of staff who perform similar tasks are placed in one department and they work according to function. Every person in the catering department attends to food and serving of food. You don't go start playing music or joining those in decoration and all that. So this is the structure according to function. So those similar functions are placed in one department. Then project-led organizations group people into temporary teams for duration of a project. So another structure is you group people just temporarily. You be in charge of protocol. You be in charge of this. Just group them for that project case. Now look at the diagram that explains this really quickly. You see the event coordinator at the top. He coordinates the leaders of each groupings, functional group. The event planning coordinator coordinates all the art designers, the catering planners, the menu planners, the planning assistants. While the event operation coordinator coordinates the lighting supervisors, stage supervisors, catering supervisors, food services supervisors, entertainment, ticketing supervisors, sound supervisors, music supervisors, security supervisors, decorators, and riggers, while the event administration is in charge of marketing assistant, purchase assistants, payroll assistant, the IT supervisors, the advertising assistant, health safety. And you see that if you look at the diagram, you just realize that this event is divided into functional areas. So this is called functional event organization. This is the structure. Now, this is another structure here. This is where the event is a project-led event. Now, the project is divided into projects, into different events. Like you have event A, event B, event C, and then they have directors that are going to be functioning in these different events. You can see the stream of arrows. Let's take project A, for example. Project A, we have the director of event project working on it alongside director of operations and director of marketing. You can see the arrows, the lines pointing to event A. Now, event B, the director of event projects, director of operations, director of finance, and director of HR are on event B. Now, event C, how many are on it? We have director of event projects, director of operations, and director of marketing. So you see, these are project-led event organizational structure, and this is how they function. And then we have the matrix event organization. Here, it's like a combination of the two. You see the events occurring, and then you have the resources they are allocated to, and they are mixed sort of. Now, event project and organizational framework. Now, this is the explanation I just gave right now. Okay, so let's go straight to project leadership. Now, whether an event organization uses a functional, a project-led, or a matrix structure for its event, its choice will, for the most part, dictate the type of leadership which is most practical for that particular structure. Now, the leadership of the organization along with its structure will in turn heavily influence its project culture, which will have its own influences on the delivery of the event itself. Now, project leadership involves inspiring, motivating, influencing, and changing behaviors of others in pursuit of a common goal. Event project leadership therefore differs from management and administration tasks and responsibilities, which are mostly functional and focuses on the actions of an individual in their relationship with others who are involved in the event. So you see in every project, leadership is key. And the way you experience the leadership is primarily determined by the structure of such events. We know you have the functional structure, the project-led structure, and the matrix structure of an event. Now, in some of these structures, you see that have the leaders breathing down your neck, while in some cases, you just have your own group or team leader breathing down your neck. The main event manager, you don't see him so much because your own team leader interfaces with the main leader, and then you interface with your team leader. So you see, the structure you operate differs, but primarily the project leadership is bestowed with the function of inspiring, motivating, influencing, and changing behaviors of people and pursuit of the common goal of that event. Whether you are the team leader or the general a project manager at that. Now, we have different leadership styles, and we have three of them. We have the authoritarian leadership style, we have the democratic style, and we have the laissez-faire work environment. Okay, and let's see what they are all about. Now, authoritarian work environments are led by an autocratic leader who makes decisions on behalf of the team and divides work tasks and processes accordingly, providing critique of the team's performance while often not engaging closely with either the team or its activity. So the key part about this particular style is that it's an authoritarian leadership and it tends to boss people around. The second kind of leadership style is the democratic leadership style. Democratic leadership style strives in a democratic environment and have leaders who consult team members to arrive at a consensus regarding the important decisions, offering guidance as required, as well as praise and constructive criticism throughout. So the core here is that decision is taken as a team. While the laissez-faire work environment have little tangible leadership input, with the leader allowing all major decisions to be made and executed by the team members themselves. Now, the latter demonstrates free reign and receives little input or feedback from the leaders. So you see, this one is like a free for all kind of a work environment. Everybody does what he likes. All right. Now, project organization. Any event project manager must have the ability to form teams, as this is crucial to the success of any event production. Team members' selection and placement in functional group is often not the most efficient or effective means to staff an event, as this does not suit the common structure of the event organization in some cases. Teams and teamwork are usually more effective than individuals in event project settings. Now, most times we must take note that when we work as team and we work properly, always do better than when we work individually. So teams allow more to be achieved as they can achieve a much wider range of tasks and workloads. So that is one of the critical parts about teams and teamwork. Another is team members usually have a wider range of skills. Of course, you bring your skill, I bring my skill, everybody brings. We have a lot of skill to impute because we are working as a team. But if you work individually, you only impute your own skill or specialization or thought processes which can be drawn upon in the solution of an event problem. Another is that teams often make better decisions. And then the fourth is that teams often provide a better environment for motivation and can support each other better. Five, team members are more open to risk taking as risk is spread across more people associated with an event. Therefore, they can accommodate more risk. Right? Now, what is the effective project team? What does an effective project team require? An effective project team requires one, clear goals. Before you start any of your function, your goals have to be clearly stated. This is a wedding. What is our end goal? Everybody must eat. Everybody must be accommodated properly, seated properly, and they will drink, they eat, and they will go. Simple. So now every function should be around delivering this. This is the National Sports Festival. Every team must perform. Every team must be housed. Every team must be secured. Every official and team must be protected at all times. The success of this program is not negotiable. That is the delivery. So the clear goal is one of um, uh, one of the factors that defines an effective project team. An effective project team requires a clear goal. A clear goal. Number two, a result-driven structure. While you've been given a clear goal, you must institute or structure your project, your team. You must get a structure that fits the goal that you're supposed to achieve. So the team that will go for a wedding and how you plan it is not the kind of team that you will use to plan an Olympic and other kinds of event. Number three, competent team members. Now you know your clear goals. An effective project team, once they know their clear goals, they have their structure in place. A competent team member is the next for an effective team, project team. Who will do this job and do it well? Competent team members are very important. For an effective team, project team, unified commitment, that is being a team player, is important, not just playing individually. Unified commitment from everyone will make a project team effective. Another is a collaborative climate. That is, everybody's collaborating, working cooperatively. Then the next is standards of excellence. What is the baseline of our deliverables? We are going to deliver this kind of service. We are going to deliver it in this manner, irrespective of the fact that this particular manner can be delivered. No, for our team, we do more than just the bare minimum. Then the next is external support and recognition. It's important for an effective project team to have external support and recognition in case you need help. And then effective leadership. Every team without an effective leadership will eventually fail. It will become free for all. Everybody leads himself. The team is not held together. Leadership holds the team together. So these are the requirements for an effective team, project team. Now look at these self-assessment exercises. Take a look at them, try to attempt them, and get yourself ready. So that's about it for today. As is our usual, you can unmute yourself and ask your question, and we'll try to attend to it. All right, I'm waiting. Any question? Is this for talking to us?
Good evening, sir.
Wifo, sorry.
Wifo, yeah. Sir, you talked about event, characteristics of event, and characteristics of event as a project. What is the difference? I may ask.
We said an event is a temporal and purposive gathering of people.
Yes,
so
sir.
It is not a project at that point. That is, you're not attending to it as a project. Now, for a project manager, an event to him is business. So if you see an event now, this is an event, these are the characteristics of an event. It is temporal. Like now you meet someone in a bus stop and all of you are there waiting. That something happens there. That's an event. It happened at the bus stop. But there's no business there. You're not going anywhere. The gathering of the people are temporal. You meet at the bus stop every week because you go to work together. So, but there's nothing really about it per se, right? Now, but let's go to event as a project. Once you say it's a project, events are projects because they are of limited duration, they require a degree of coordination. Once you start describing event as a project, it means you want to now start putting budget to it, you want to now start adding unique things, coordination to it, you want to start seeing it as a business or something that you require a kind of satisfaction for, probably something like Christmas celebration, wedding. It now becomes a core, something you can plan for, not just a passing event that is not a serious thing, but it's still an event. So,
yes, sir.
So when you see it as a project, then you must have to budget for it. You see that you must have to coordinate, show a leadership, institute a leadership for it. Then you must have to have cross-functionality for it.
That's true, sir. Why I actually asked the question, sir. Yes. In a situation where one is, I'm sorry to stress this further, sir. In a situation where one is asked to describe the basic characteristics of events, are we going to go the way of event are temporary in nature? They are gatherings of people, and they often display of ritual, and they are also unique. Or we go the way of event as a project, talking of leadership.
When you are asked question in an academic environment, understanding the question is first the exam. If you understand the question, you are now on the path of passing the answering of the question. But if you don't understand the question, you may start answering off what the examiner is expecting as an answer. And because of the uniqueness of how our school is, you always will have what they call it, a marking guide. Do you get the point?
Exactly,
And
sir.
so the person marking is marking according to the guide. Except for some of us that already understand certain things. But even at that, we use the marking guide because I can't mark for patients in the questions where they say identify or highlight or list the characteristics of an event. I mark Patience's work and I mark temporal in nature, gathering of people, often display of rituals and all that. I mark it for her. Then I come to your own and you are listing the other one. It will not be consistent of me to still mark that correct for you because this is what is expected. The student should answer. And when the NUC people comes for vetting of scripts, they will check the consistency of the marking and say, okay, this is the correct answer now. Why did you mark the other one? So always try to understand the question. Is the question saying I highlight or explain characteristics of events or characteristics of events as a project?
He just said describe the basic characteristics of events.
Then you go for
sir?
You go for events, these characteristics of events you see here.
Yes, if I'm to answer this, I will simply just take the temporary in nature, the gathering of people and all those things.
Yes.
I don't know if I'm on the right track.
Yes, you are.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
Any other question?
Yeah, good evening, doctor.
Good evening.
My name is Agbaje. Good evening.
Okay, Agbaje. Good evening.
Yeah, please, I just want to make a request. During the last lecture, we requested for that the soft copy of this lecture notes.
Oh.
Because the one that is online, that we downloaded online, is haphazardly.
You don't remind me again now. I said you should remind me. Are you not on the WhatsApp group? You could have reminded me. Let me look for it on my system and post it. I forgot. I didn't even remember.
Let us post it because the one online is Jaga Jaga. I've complained even up to directors there and everything. You know, I don't know. I will can't get the hard copies. They have not sent it to Lagos as at this morning. They said there is no hard copy and all those stuff. Imagine out of the 10 courses that I'm taking, I only have hard copy lecture notes for 2, and they are all elective. The 8 other courses for this program is not available.
Okay.
Please, I will remind you maybe later tonight again, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. I will look for it and send it down to you guys.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
All right. All right. If that is all, we'll call it a day. Have you seen your timetable? When is this exam supposed to be taken?
Yes.
Your course is the 1st, sir.
Which day?
22nd.
22nd. 8 a.m. 8:30 a.m.
Okay.
All right. Are we expecting revision?
I don't know how my week will be.
Revision, sir.
Let's see how next week will be so that we run through everything.
Okay, sir.
Okay. I have a copy I'm looking at in front of me. I'm not sure is it the highlighted one, but let me drop this one. Later we'll start cross-checking if this one is the one you need or not. I will drop it on the WhatsApp group now.
Thank you very much.
So you see it. Because I know I may just forget it once I leave here. All right, guys. See you.
Thank
I wish you all the best.
Thank you so much.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay.